Director for Apprenticeship and Work-Based Learning at MCAST. I've been working in adult education as well for the past 10, 11 years. And I've been an EPALE ambassador since 2016. And I'm also part of the national team of ECVET experts. That's another project run by the National Commission for Further and Higher Education. So for today's presentation, this is basically the plan. I will first say a few words about the role of EPALE ambassadors. I have a short icebreaker which is aimed at getting some information from you and also introduce you to the annotation tool, because that will be used as an interactive tool during this session. I will give a background about EPALE, also something about activities done in Malta, the key features and good practices for each feature, and then I'll give a brief live demonstration by going into the platform and sort of browsing around real time and giving you further insights. And then at the end, we'll look at how you can contribute to the platform. So my role is as an EPALE ambassador. I've been in this role since 2016. It's a very interesting role. Apart from myself, there are also other ambassadors. I think there are 4 ambassadors. Our aim is to help in user recruitment, to share resources, to promote the mission of EPALE, contribute articles, blogs, events, which I will be explaining as well later on today. We also participate and organize certain events ourselves as well. But obviously, at the end, we try to also promote adult learning and education and the benefits of EPALE for this particular group. Although EPALE per se, it has a lot of resources on adult education, but although the main target is adult educators, but it's not limited to adult educators. And I will explain during my session today, in fact. So I would like to start with a short icebreaker, and also to get you to use the annotation tool. So I would like you to look at this question. Are you familiar with EPALE? And if you are a registered member, and what you need to do, I will now put on the annotation tool, and you should have a button called Annotate on the top. It's on the top, Mahira, right?
The annotate button. On the left-hand side.
On the left-hand side, sorry, on the left-hand side, yes.
And it should be assigned to us.
I think it's assigned. Allowed to yes. Okay. You are. So basically, you will have this T text tool, and you can write, for example, yes.
So the participants need to click on the double T, which is in the bar at the left-hand side. If you click on the double T and then click on where the whiteboard is underneath the question, you can type in your answer.
We will be using this tool in the next question and also as part of another discussion towards the end. I'm looking because, sideways because I have another screen which I'm using to help with this presentation. Okay, so someone wrote yes already. Okay. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to get the hang of this. Okay, so someone is interested in these sessions but not familiar with EPALE. Good. Okay, heard of EPALE but not familiar. Good.
Ramon,
tell me.
I need help. Where should I click in order to write, to use the annotation tool?
There is text. There is the text tool on the left-hand side. you should have a bar. I don't know if you can see my screen. And there is this double T. And you click on it, and then you just click somewhere on the screen and write.
I cannot find the double T.
It's the third icon. It's the third icon.
Can you find the arrow? There's an arrow, there's a box. So there is a bar with plenty of things that you can do. If not, Ruben, you can tell us in the chat box as well, because it could be that some browsers, if you're not using, for instance, the WebEx app, this bar might not show up as well.
No, in fact, I am not using the WebEx app, so that is the reason why.
It could be one of the reasons. So if you can tell us in the chat box, we will be able to see it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll move to the next slide. So I'll stop the annotation tool. Okay, someone wrote, no, I'm not very familiar and very eager to learn. Okay, I think it was in the chat box. Thank you. So the next one will be using the annotation tool again. What are your expectations from today's session? I will put on the annotation tool again for this. 1 second. Okay, assign, and everyone is allowed to annotate. So, for example, just to give you an example, okay? Again, it's the same procedure. Use the annotation tool to the double T on the sidebar. There are stages. I'm listening to music for the event set. Okay, I saw your comment on the chat box, Ruben. Thank you. I think someone clicked on the pen by mistake. And the pen tool, you need to use the text tool. I'll give you another couple of minutes so that we can continue.
In the meantime, Ruben told us in the chat box that he has used it to search for documents on certain subjects and topics.
Okay. Yes, that is a very key function of the platform as well. Knowledge on the options available, okay, to support participants and answer the questions. I want to learn more about it. Okay, fine. I want to learn more. Okay, so we can move to the next slide. I'll stop the annotation tool for now. And thank you again for your participation. So just some background and introduction. What is EPALE? Okay, it's basically the electronic platform for adult learning in Europe. It was it is funded under the Erasmus Plus program via the Education, Audiovisual and Culture Agency. It is a very interesting online community. When I was preparing this presentation, which was basically this week, a few days ago, the platform has over 70,000 registered members from across Europe. Okay, it is available in 24 EU languages, and there are 38 national support teams across Europe, as at the time of writing as well, that are like the representatives of each country supporting users, EPALE ambassadors, and coordinating EPALE from their own country. In Malta, we give a lot of work to Mahira. We're constantly in contact with Mahira, and I thank her through this platform for her continuous assistance as well. And the key question that probably you are asking is, okay, you told us what is EPALE, it's a community, but who can use EPALE? It is an open membership platform that enables different users to connect with adult learning providers, professionals across Europe, and it can target different groups, not just adult educators. So that's why I wrote in this manner in my slide. So if you are a teacher, an academic, if you are a policymaker, if you are a researcher, if you are a local council, and I will mention local councils later on as well. If you are a journalist working in education and training, because there are a lot of resources, news items, etc., and probably other key stakeholders that can use EPALE as well. And I didn't try them there, but even students, because students studying adult learning or students studying education or any other subject can find interesting things on EPALE. In Malta, what's happened so far and what is being done? So basically, it is managed by the Directorate for Research, Lifelong Learning and Employability within the Ministry of Education and Employment. There is a work program that governs the role of EPALE in Malta and diverse activities that are organized. Our main contact point, as I said, is Mahira, and a number of activities have already been organized. One of the key activities, in my opinion, is are the awards, the EPALE Awards. Apologies for the typo there. The EPALE Awards celebrating adult learning in Malta. There were 2 editions so far, 2016 and 2018, and various seminars, conferences, events such as this webinar series, etc. I urge you to visit the Facebook page Adult Learning in Malta for further information. It's continuously updated. You can also share the various links that are posted. There is also Adult Learning in Malta on LinkedIn, which is another popular platform which you can use as well. And every year there is also the call for expression for EPALE ambassadors, so that people interested can apply and work on EPALE and do the work that we do to promote the platform. So after that brief introduction, I think most of you are registered, but there were some that are still new. So I'll just briefly go to registration. Firstly, registration is not compulsory. Okay, so to browse and to see EPALE, you do not need to register. However, to upload, comment, participate, etc., you need to be registered. And I obviously recommend it so that you can make the best use of the features. So registration is simple. You basically go to the website. I put the link up there. You can copy and paste it, or else even if you go on Google and write EPALE, it's the first thing that comes up. You will have the main page. Okay, you will have the main page here. You click on register, and then you will have this form. Okay, you just put in some basic details. It's important that you accept the terms, conditions of use, and obviously you can also go through them and accept it as accordingly. I also encourage you to click on this box, which is allow my national support service to contact me, so that you remain updated on what is going on nationally. And then you just click on register, and it's a simple, it's a basically simple process.
Ramon, just to highlight the point of the National Support Service,
Yes.
What it means is that the Directorate every now and then will have important national information to share with those who have registered on the platform. So if you don't tick that box, we will not be able to send you those emails. If you tick that box, it would mean that you will be updated, as Ramon said, with certain key things that are usually happening mostly nationally. That means in Malta. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahira. So now I will go through the features of EPALE. The plan is as follows. During the next slides, I will go through each of the features, obviously through the presentation, but then at the end, I'm going to do a short live demonstration also to expand on certain points that I'm going to be mentioning. So firstly, when you go into the platform, one of the key elements is EU policy, okay, and keeping up to date with adult learning policy in Europe. And there is a whole section which I will show you and explain further during the live demonstration, where you can see all of these items. These are all important, but the last one, the policy analysis tool, it's a very interesting tool, which I will show in the live demonstration, that brings together existing data on adult learning and continuous vocational education and training. And it's a very useful tool which can help also in your research. Another key element of the platform is community activities. Now, there are various community activities that you can participate in and benefit from as well. Okay, these provide opportunities for engagement in different subjects, both with EPALE as a platform and also with other users. So there are the communities of practice, blogs, events, news, and I will go through each one of them. So communities of practice, these are basically online groups where people with similar interests can get together and discuss different topics, different items. You can either join an existing group, such as the example which I am showing on the screen, but you can also set up your own community of practice, which I will show you where you need to go during the demonstration as well. So you can set up your community of practice and invite peers and others to join in. Let's say you want to discuss, for example, at the moment, I'm working on an ESF project on apprenticeship and work-based learning. We have a key topic. We will be developing a mentoring program for industry supervisors and also mentors that visit our apprentices. So I can say, let me create a community of practice that discusses mentoring in work-based learning, for example. And I can invite people, or so we can discuss and share our ideas in that particular community of practice. The next item is blogs. Now, blogs, you might hear the term blogs and articles on EPALE. Now, blogs and articles are a bit different. Blogs are basically texts that take a bit more time than the news articles you will find on EPALE, because you need to write around 600 to 1,000 words. Typically, it can be an opinion piece, you could have done an interview with someone, and so you're writing the blog. It could be have an interesting case study. And an interesting feature is obviously that you can just share the link accordingly on other social media platforms. So once you write the blog and it's uploaded, you can then share it as you want on social media or on various platforms. It's important to note that anything that you upload first needs to be vetted. So if you upload a blog, it will not be immediately published because it first needs to go through a filter by the National Support Service so as to ensure that it meets the standards of EPALE and the policy and terms of the platform. So that is an important element as well. I have an example. This is a recent blog that I wrote about the apprenticeship experience, the trainer skill at the workplace. So just to show you how it would look, obviously this is just part of it. It is interesting to note that you can also suggest your own blog post through this button, and it can also be made available in different languages. This is translated by the different national support services across Europe. So in this case, the article that I wrote in English was translated in French and in German. You can also write in Maltese. Okay, EPALE is also available in Maltese. You can also write in Maltese. So there is that feature as well, if you feel comfortable writing in Maltese, and they obviously encourage it because it's the national language. So you can use that as well. So I encourage you to think about certain topics in your area of expertise that you can share with others through this feature. The next item in community activities is events. Okay, EPALE also offers an event calendar. You can post anything related to adult learning events, training opportunities, conferences from all over Europe. And I wrote this tip on purpose. If you participate in various Erasmus projects, ESF, you need to ensure that you have dissemination of your activities, events, visibility. So you can use this tool to provide information about multiplier events if you're using Erasmus+, consultation seminars, other dissemination activities. So you can write them on EPALE as well. And you can also search for events based on your areas of interest. I'm going to show you a screenshot of 2 examples. This is a project that I was managing a few years ago, and I put an event about our final conference. And this is an event that I put a few weeks ago about online information sessions that MCAST was organizing. I also had about another project, but I couldn't show everything. But these are like examples from my experience that I'm sharing so that you can also get a better idea of certain good practices of how you can use EPALE in your day-to-day life. Then there is also news. Now, I mentioned articles before. Now, news and articles are the same for EPALE, but they're not blog posts. They are distinct from blog posts, as I mentioned earlier, because blog posts are typically longer pieces. You can contribute your own news articles, and again, similar to blog posts, these can be shared on social media to further increase your visibility. I have an example that I uploaded recently as well. This is from the launch of the Bachelor in Vocational Education and Training that MCAST launched earlier in June. I also put a news article here to further increase the visibility of this launch of this new degree by MCAST. So after registering, you can also upload your articles accordingly. On the site here, in fact, you will see upcoming events and all the news that would be upcoming based obviously on this page. So that was the part on community activities. The next part, it's very interesting because it's about tools, okay? Tools and portals and other things which may be a bit more useful. I'm not going to go into the Nordic portal because this is for the Nordic countries and basically everything is in Danish, Finnish, etc. I'm going to focus on the resource center, the partner search facility, case study, and the useful links. Now, the resource center provides thousands, okay, of free resources based on different themes. And you can also upload your own resources. I use this a number of times. I also am going to show you a case study of how resources were used in one of the projects that I was also working on at MCAST. And I'm going to show you a video testimonial from one of our lecturers. And resources cover different subjects. This is an example. It's basically the previous presentation that I delivered in the first webinar series. So there is the presentation that I delivered. It's uploaded there. When I also managing another project, it was an Erasmus Plus project, which I finished last year. I also uploaded the resources here. In fact, this particular resource was selected by EPALE as one of the resources in the EPALE resource kit for skills development. When there was the COVID period, EPALE was creating different resource kits to support online skills development, and this was selected as one of the good case studies and included in the kit prepared by EPALE. So even if you are participating or managing in projects and you need to upload your results to show visibility, you can also upload to the resource center. In fact, When you are applying for KA2 applications, Key Action 2 applications, or I think even KA1, in the application, there is a particular section. If you are applying for adult education, the sub part of adult education, of how you are going to use EPALE in your project. And in fact, if you see the assessment criteria that assessors use, it's one of the things that they need to look at if EPALE was mentioned and if it's going to be used in this project. So that's again another incentive for you to register and use the platform. This is the case example that I wanted to mention. So MCAST was in a partner in a project run by the Ministry for the Family, Children's Rights and Social Solidarity. It's a project that focuses on financial literacy, etc. And the chosen program developers and lecturers were informed about EPALE's financial literacy. I informed them about this, and they actually used some of the resources available. Now I'm going to switch to the video so that we can also see the video. I will have to temporarily stop sharing the screen to change the mode of WebEx so that you will be able to hear the sound, okay?
So thank you, Ramon. In the meantime, I know that Ramon mentioned the difference between blogs and articles. Regarding the blogs, because of COVID-19, EPALE team had come up with the initiative for the communities of the community initiative. It's mostly based for gathering stories from different adult educators who have, during COVID, experienced some kind of learning that gave them either a new growth, a new learning curve. So basically what we want from these stories is to gather them. And there is an application form that you can fill in so that it's standardized. I will be posting the link as well on the chat box. So if you were an adult educator who had to go through an experience during COVID-19 together with your learners, then we want to hear from you. We are looking for stories, especially from Malta. So that would be a great way for us then to spread the word and engage other adult educators from across Europe. The community story will be uploaded on the platform and then shared on social media pages. But for now, we'll go back to the video testimonial of the project on financial literacy.
Okay, thank you, Mahira. This is a short video. This is Mr. Luke Vella, who is a lecturer at MCAST and who was coordinating this program. And it's a brief testimonial of how he found EPALE and the lecturers, how they found EPALE useful for this project. You should be able to hear the audio normally through your computer.
Hi, I'm Luke. I'm a lecturer at MCAST and I'm currently coordinating the financial literacy course in Malta. My colleague, Ramon Mangion, provided me with access to the EPALE platform, which provided me with numerous case studies and practical examples which I could use in my classroom with participants, which enabled them to get a feeling of the real-life situations vulnerable people actually encounter, and such a platform was of great help to actually help them understand what these vulnerable groups really go through. In my opinion, the EPALE framework was actually very beneficial towards this course.
I will just switch back to the previous mode so that the text is clearer. The idea was basically to show you how EPALE can be a practical tool as well for various projects, and I asked Luke to also prepare this video so that we can share this testimonial. Another key feature, Mahir, I don't know if it's clear. I switched the mode. I don't know if the text is clear now. I switched the mode.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So the partner search, it's a very useful tool for various activities, and I mentioned local councils in the beginning. Between 2012 and 2015, I was a local councillor in my locality, and we used to participate in various projects. And one of the key difficulties was, listen, we have this idea, but we need to find partners. So the partner search facility can help you to find partners for EU funding and to exchange ideas for good practices. And there may be opportunities to agree on job shadowing, where members of your staff can visit that particular partner, spend a few days and learn. You can also discuss ideas, virtual projects. So there is this facility that is available on EPALE. EPALE also provides, as I mentioned earlier on, a space to have a collaborative space. So we can also create a community of practice to discuss a particular concept as well. And the next slide, I have some examples from the partner search page. These are like the latest uploads that I had when I was preparing this presentation. Like for example, this one, looking for partners for Erasmus Plus K205, who would like to be your Erasmus Plus partner, etc., etc. You might also find in different languages as well, since EPALE, it's a multi-language course. The next feature is case studies. Now, these are based on blogs and resources uploaded on EPALE. So we can also therefore share your good practice by uploading such content, as indicated in previous slides. This can help you, this section in tools and portals can help you to find good practice examples and case studies from adult learning projects across Europe. And you can also get inspiration about different topics which might be of interest to yourself as well. Okay, so the case studies provide another insight. I put a screenshot here as an example of some of the case studies that were available when I was preparing for this presentation. The last part is the useful links. There are a number of links to key portals as recommended by EPALE. These are based on 3 categories: the European Commission, European policies related to adult learning, and glossaries on adult learning. I have a screenshot in the next slide. So these are the links for the European Commission, and obviously there would be other links for the other categories that I mentioned. Obviously, again, apart from the resources, articles, blogs, partner search, etc., the case studies, these links would then provide you further insight into the different topics of interest. To bring these all together, I would like to mention the teams, EPALE teams. So when you are on EPALE, you have the tools and portals, community activities, but you also have the teams. And why is this important? So when you upload a blog, a news article, etc., you can also write certain keywords so that you can also include within a particular team. But even when you are searching for something, instead of searching blankly, so you just search and it might be a bit more difficult, you can click on teams, and EPALE has these 5 major teams and the different sub-teams. A key pertinent topic in Malta for sure is quality. There is a lot of work in active aging. There is a webinar, I forgot the dates, Mahira, but I know there is another webinar which will look at older persons as part of this series.
That will be held on Thursday. So this coming Thursday, 9th July at 10 a.m.
Okay, so as you can see, there are various themes. So when you click on a particular theme, then you will have different resources, news, etc. of that particular theme. I obviously cannot show you everything now, but I have a screenshot from the team of Workplace Learning. So I clicked on Workplace Learning. This is the latest blog that was in that theme. There are news related to workplace learning, events, discussions, resources. So these are all together under this particular theme. On the right, you will also have the latest discussions going on related to that particular theme. The next part is the live demonstration. Mahir, I don't know if we should take some questions now or show the live demonstration, do the final activity and take questions at the end. For me, it works both ways.
We can take a few questions now in the chat box, but in the meantime, I suggest, because time is against us, so we have around 20 minutes left. So I suggest you continue with the live demonstration. If there are any questions, please write them in the chat box, and as we go along, we can answer them.
Okay, no problem. So I'll open the browser. Yeah, the browser is open. I'll just share the screen again.
And with the live demonstration, what will happen is that what Ramon was saying will come all together for during his usage of the EPALE platform. The links are in the chat box, so if you want to register, if you want to learn more about the teams, everything is in the EPALE platform. Ramon is currently signing in. The security for signing in is usually, it's not by a touch of a button, but there are a few things so that we will know that you are not a robot, basically, and to prevent any spam from happening.
Yes, so obviously I clicked on log on. You need to put your details, and it's important that you click on that I'm not a robot, because otherwise you will get an error and you will not be able to log in. So basically, when you go into the main page, there are continuous latest updates and information about different items. Here you can click on these boxes to get the different items of this particular slide. These are the community stories which were being mentioned earlier on as well. They're available on the main page. And at the bottom, you will have the latest from EPALE. So latest blogs, latest news. In fact, the latest one is the one that I uploaded yesterday about the launch of MCAS online applications. Discussions, latest resources. Again, someone uploaded a resource yesterday as well. So for the latest, it's all in the main page. If you keep going down, there is the events calendar as well, and other social media information. If you want to get further information, maybe read through at your own leisure, there is the frequently asked questions section, where if you click on that, you have basically questions based on the different sub areas. So general questions, stakeholder related questions, registration, difficulties, content, how do I upload a post, how do I upload news, how do I create an event, the partner search, everything. So that's at the bottom, frequently asked questions. So I'm going to mention an example. Let's say I want to write a blog post or something based on, let's say, workplace learning. So, okay, so I went to Teams, I went to workplace learning. Now, EPALE, it's a bulky platform, but it's quite fast normally. It's quite fast. So here you have the different subsections that I showed in my presentation. So let's say I want to create a blog post. There is the button here, create content, and you choose the item that you want to create, which will be related to this particular theme. Let's say I want to create a blog post. Okay, so when you are creating a post, you need to put the title, obviously. You need to then put the body, but it's basically the text, and you can also include a summary, which would be the text that is shown in the preview of the blog. Now, my suggestion is always to write on Word and then copy and paste at the end. Because if your internet connection, I don't know, goes bad or the browser is stuck, so you can write the body there. Then there is the metadata section, which is important because you can choose the language, the theme, and keywords. Now, when you're writing themes and keywords, when you click, there are different themes that you can choose so that you can make it easier also for the article, posts, or whatever to be contextualized. The keywords are also very important because they also help in the search. So, for example, in the one of workplace learning, I think I wrote Malta, I think I wrote vocational education, and I think it was adult learning as well. You can write up to 3 keywords. There is also this slideshow here, and this is basically to have images which will be related to your particular article or blog post as well. At the end, when you write, you can do a preview to see how the article will look on the platform, and then if you're happy, you can click on save. Whenever you create content, you will receive an email that content was created. The content will be reviewed by the National Support Service. If there is an issue, you will be contacted. If it's okay, it will be approved and uploaded. If I'll go back, just to show.
Ramon, if I may, so if there are people here who are still unsure on how to go about uploading, you know, which themes should they select for their blog post or article or event, they can always send me an email, and in a couple of days, I usually get back to the person with the relevant information. So that is also available. I wrote the email, my email address in the chat box.
The same applies for resources and events. I'm going to show the last example because I know time is tight, and I saw someone that wrote that he or she needs to leave at 11. So again, when I clicked on create content and resources, I am given this this text box. Now, resources, there might be more details that you need to put. Obviously, the title, the description, the ISBN if applicable, the authors. But then when it comes to resource data, you need to put the language, you upload the item, or else if you are linking to a resource, you put the link. Here, this is important, you need to look at the copyright status. Now, this is not my main area of expertise, so obviously, but if, for example, you are uploading resources from an Erasmus Plus project, typically these are available freely, open, so you can choose free or open data or no cost, freely available for download. For example, if you are uploading something which has exclusive rights, which you created and you don't want to be available, like based on a free license, you can choose exclusive rights, etc. And you can write information here as well. The resource metadata enables you to choose the type of resource that you are uploading, the country, and again the themes and keywords that I mentioned, similar for the resources, for the blog posts. So that is about uploading certain resources. About the tools and portals, I want to show you the EU policy first, the one that I mentioned in my presentation as well. Now, the section EU policy has all these subsections, but I want to go into the policy analysis tool. Now, the policy analysis tool gives you the ability to find data and statistics, country profiles, compare different countries, and also other additional resources. So if I go on country profiles, for example, and you want to learn about a particular country, let's say Malta, and there will be the information for that particular country, for example, in this case, as compared to the EU average. The percentage of people participating in education and training, and all these
Ramon,
indicators.
it's not very clear, but if participants go online, of course, it will be more clear and readable, the information.
Yes, unfortunately, I cannot do anything more from my end. Maybe I'll zoom a bit, but no. So there is a lot of information that you can get here from EU policy. When it comes to tools and portals, there is the main resource center that I mentioned, which you can either access as a resource center to enter keyword and find information about that keyword, or else you can go through the teams and find accordingly based on the teams. Case studies that I mentioned also earlier. So these are case studies of good practices. You can also enter keywords here. So let's say adult professionals, for example. Let's see if something crops up. So yes, there are 10. So this one, trends and perspectives for continuing education. It's a national report. So we can then click on the particular case study, and then it will take you to that particular blog, resource, etc. Yes, the useful links, I want to show you the other sections that were not included in the presentation. So this was the part on European Commission, European policies related to adult learning, and the glossaries on adult learning. Probably you're not seeing them clearly because the text is a bit small in itself, and then there is the limiting factor of WebEx, but everything is accessible through the platform. From my end, the live demonstration, I'm going to stop here because there isn't time to go into much more detail. However, I would like to do the final interactive activity. So I will go back to the presentation.
In the meantime, we really got a good overview of what EPALE is and what it can offer. And the live demonstration, you know, it kind of consolidated what you were talking earlier. So we had someone, for instance, asking about teams earlier on. And then I told her, listen, Ramon, we'll go in detail as soon as the presentation was going to be during the live demonstration.
Okay, so thank you, Mahira. Yes, I obviously understand that you have various questions, etc. For example, something that I did not mention in my presentation, once I also did an activity for students. I was lecturing in the diploma teaching adults, and I gave an activity to my students to register on EPALE and find resources, blogs, and anything related to that particular lecture that we were going to do. And then they needed to come back, and we discussed the information and material that they found and how it helped them. So if you are a lecturer, teacher, adult educator, etc., you can also use EPALE as a tool in your lessons. This will have obviously two benefits. It will help to have more users and more participants on EPALE, but also you'd have something different for your students and something more interactive and something more hands-on that they can do on a self-study basis or even as part of your class sessions. So I have the last two slides. Basically, I want to do the final discussion, the final interactive event. So following the presentation and brief live demonstration that I showed, how do you think that you can contribute to EPALE? So I'm going to open the annotation tool again. So now you can start annotating. Again, there is the double T. So you click on the double T anywhere on the screen.
And for those who do not have the annotation bar, they can also write in the chat box.
Yes, as well.
This will be very interesting to see as a national support service after your presentation, Ramon. Because
Thank you.
it's the way forward for us and how we can also support those who have the ideas to actualize them.
Okay. So I think by mistake I switched to the other slide, but now it's back. So you can annotate. As I said, for those of you that are new or never used the platform before, obviously you need some time after today to maybe go and browse and see EPALE better at your own leisure. But as I said, there are various opportunities for dissemination, for projects, also to share your papers. If you write a paper about a subject related to obviously different themes and you want to upload a blog related to that particular topic, news and events, the partner search, to research. At the moment, for example, I'm working on something related to quality assurance in education, and the first thing that I did, apart from my own resources, I went into the quality assurance part of EPALE to see what there is. So I will search and find themes, block resource packs. So can students contribute to EPALE? Okay, it's an interesting question. Yes, students, probably the platform is more oriented towards adult educators, but students, if they are studying or working on a particular theme related to the themes of EPALE, yes, we'll try them. I would encourage it, particularly if used also as part of a holistic lecture, etc. Mahir, I think you were going to say something, sorry.
Yes, so regarding content, any content is welcome, but of course, since the platform is mostly for adult learning professionals, that content has to relate to that area.
Yes.
So Ramon had students from the diploma, which were, studying to become adult educators themselves at the end of the day. Somebody asked, how can I use this platform to teach our members about digital health? So it depends on the team. There is the e-learning team, and then there is the health literacy team. Maybe you would be able to combine both those teams so that your content would be reflected in those teams.
Yes, as Mahira said, obviously the contents that you upload needs to be related to the themes and the mission of the platform, which is focused mostly on education and training and adult education per se.
For instance, another interesting thing that perhaps your students can do, there are usually online discussions on pertinent topics, which happens every quarter of the year. And I know that lists are very popular for blog writing. So imagine telling your students to go through the online discussion and eliciting the most important information, like the 10 best or the 10 good practices of basic skills discussion on adult education. And that they're summarizing as well. So learning, summarizing, and synthesizing the information. Somebody forgot their password. It's not a problem if you forgot your password, it happens. You can always go on the website and request a new password, which you will receive directly in your inbox of the email account that you have on EPALE.
Okay, and so thank you for your contributions in the previous slides. And the last question from my end is basically, do you feel that your expectations were fulfilled? I'm going to open the annotation tool again. Yes.
So in the meantime, as I will answer Ruben Mifsud. In the meantime, please use the annotation tool, the double T tool, double text tool, to contribute to the last reflection point. And Ruben, EPALE will be, as soon, maybe in a couple of months, there is a huge discussion that there will be a VET page dedicated to vocational education and training. So in the meantime, you can still upload any content that you might find relevant. But yes, VET and adult education cannot be enemies. You know, they are in a very good relationship, and EPALE knows that. So it would like to promote VET in their everyday activities.
Unfortunately, I cannot see the chat box, Mahira. So if there are any other questions, kindly let me know.
Those were the questions. So I will be putting the link of the feedback form, because I know somebody said that they had to leave. The password for the certificate is 1234. The feedback form is in the chat box. If you want the certificate of attendance for today's webinar, please fill in the form. Otherwise, we will not be able to send you the certificate. And of course, leave your feedback as well for this webinar with Ramon.
Okay, so thank you for your comments. It was a pleasure, and also I enjoyed seeing that this was a useful presentation. I took a screenshot from the contribute section of EPALE, because I think that it would close this presentation in a good manner. And I would like to take that quote at the bottom. EPALE has something for everyone working in the adult learning sector. But obviously the adult learning sector, it's a wide sector that encompasses different other teams and topics as well. Yes, apart from the sharing of resources, articles, etc., partners, as I would like to add on what Mahira mentioned about the online discussions about different topics. I believe there will be another one on the 8th of July, tomorrow, Mahira, an online discussion.
Yes. So if they go on the Facebook page, I will be posting about the online discussion, and feel free to contribute. It will be about adult learning and education in general, and we would like your perspective on this discussion.
Okay, so from my end, thank you once again. If you have any other questions, I'm available here for another few minutes, so that you can write in the chat box or etc. In fact, I'll stop sharing the screen for now, so that I can once again see the chat box, so that if there are any other questions. Okay.
So thank you very much. For those who would like to come to the other webinars, I had posted the links. Feel free to register yourselves. Thank you, Ramon. An hour passed by very quickly, and you've made EPALE more accessible to participants who were registered but did not really use it, and to participants who weren't registered, but I'm sure after your session, they will be registering and using EPALE.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Grazie Ramon. Proset.
Thank you.